what 420 Wellness Global and what 420 Wellness Jamaica is all about, and why we keep pushing this idea that you can go on a wellness resort and extend your life at the same time. So you can still have a turn up party, but you can also extend your life. Like,
Yes.
what a brilliant concept, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, I've
Yeah.
always said when you come to our retreat, you're coming to extend, because what's going to happen is no matter how secure you come to us, when you go back home to your family, they were like, wow, you're not coming here to, fold. You're coming here to soar to new heights.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for those who are not familiar, 420 Wellness Global and 420 Wellness Jamaica are part of Zenoverse Wellness Group. And those are two of the specific brands that have been part of a portfolio of many more created by Dr. Aubrey Oliver and myself, Dr. Stephanie Ardrey. And so Dr. Oliver is the Chief Medical Officer for 420 Wellness Global, Zenoverse Wellness Group, and all of the associated organizations. I'm the president and CEO of the organization, and we have set out to create what we think is an awesome opportunity for people to be able to take care of their health and recognize that their health is their wealth. And so the idea is to reclaim ownership of your well-being by first understanding more about the process of what a healthy lifestyle looks like, should feel like, and should be about. And our objective is to be able to first help you understand where you are along that wellness spectrum from the context of the goal is to live full life, which Doc has shared is definitely 120 years and beyond. 120 years and beyond. Is anybody excited about that?
Yes.
Am I the only one excited about that idea? I'm like, you mean that I could possibly live more life than I've already lived with what I already know and be healthy? The world better watch.
That is an awesome concept.
Awesome concept.
Phenomenal.
Who would jump for joy? I mean, if you're not jumping for joy out of that possibility, I don't know what's wrong. Clearly, your life is a bore. you need a new life. You need a new life. But we know what to do with a life that's full of excitement. And so we are joined today with Jeff and Ari, and we'll talk a little bit about them and their background with Quantum Wellness and their various locations. They'll tell us a little bit more shortly. But this was an article that just came out today, and I had to grab it and capture it. Doc sent to me earlier. He said, I've got something for you. I know you'll be excited. Once it is, I share with you. And that is, could you believe that CBD, based on new evidence, a research study, they're finding that it may not only contribute to improving your health, but extending your life.
Wow.
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 Breaking news.
Yes.
Breaking news. And so for all of those who have tried to give me, questions about the 420 wellness, y'all better catch up. Trust and believe. I didn't come up with this idea, and Doc hasn't done all these years of research just for naught. There's definitely something backing up this idea and backing up what it is we're talking about. And so Dr. Aubrey Oliver is well vested in the wellness space, has run clinical trials as the coordinating physician for the Caribbean Clinical Research Associates in Jamaica. He's advised companies around medicine, essential, general discovery. He's on the board of bioidentical hormones, New Leaf, which you guys know, cannabis, which was acquired by medicine. And so he is basically on the cutting edge of research around not only cannabis, but energy. He's a certified bioenergetics therapist and uses particular research and technology that allows your body, under his guidance and holistic protocols, to regenerate cells, to be able to stimulate cell regeneration, which in a non-invasive approach increases the outcomes. You know, typically when you hear people talk about stem cells, the conversation is about utilizing foreign substance, fetus, or other materials. And so whenever you start to take on something that is foreign in your body, there's always a possibility that your body may reject it. But when your body is regenerating stem cells from its own, natural cells, then you're not subject to the risk of something foreign in your system. So therefore, you're not going to have anything to reject because it's your body, non-invasive. So that's the goal, is to look for treatment protocols that really empowers your body to do what it was designed to do. And that is basically to heal itself. Once you are presented with the right nutrients, the right understanding, because mindset definitely plays into your healness and your wellness. In most cases, most people don't want to hear this, but many people that I've encountered, especially people suffering from the big C, cancer, attitude, it's like we could trace it all the way back to the mindset and know exactly where that began to emerge and just continue to develop in the body. So it's mind, body, and spirit. And so we need to take a holistic approach. And that's how we ensure that we have our wellness. And as people have been asking specific questions about why or how does a wellness week work? Why would I go to Jamaica as opposed to just going and making an appointment with my regular physician and following whatever treatment protocol that physician provides? So what we've seen globally is that, yes, the global health pandemic, a lot of people have responded to, it's not about what your position is on which side you're standing as it relates to the vaccines, whether you're for them or against them, it doesn't matter. We have a treatment protocol that you probably can benefit from. If you've been vaccinated, you probably need to be detoxed. If you haven't been, you probably need to be protected so that you retain a strong immune system. And so what we were looking at, I would say holistically, were some of the impacts causing these particular issues. Years of poor nutritional options, coupled with nutritional supplements. They're not even really nutritional supplements. And so what we see is people that have toxic bodies, which contribute to compromised immune systems. And the problem is, many people, I know in the conversations that I've had, many people believe that they can maintain their lifestyle without ever detoxing their bodies, without considering the root cause of any particular ailments that they face, and without really understanding that some of the information that they may have received from their doctors might not be a full picture of their wellness. It might just reflect a portion of their wellness. And so what our objective is to make sure that people are presented with a full set of options and to be able to, one, gather information that to understand what ailments they might be facing, and then be able to solve or address the root cause as opposed to just treating the symptoms. Doc does not practice sick care. His focus and his team, their focus is on providing solutions as opposed to just sick care. And I've heard him say on and on again to many of his patients that the goal is not for you to have to keep coming back to me. I want to provide you with a solution so that you're able to maintain your wellness. And so what 420 Wellness Global provides are MedSpaTel.
Steph, let me touch on something right there, because what the most important thing that we do at 420, we're going to be doing it in that first week, is to go beyond the sick care plan that your physician set up for you, because you have to differentiate. I don't even think you can associate wellness to some of these medical checkups and stuff that you get. What they give you when you get there, a blood test that shows basic stuff like cholesterol, protein, maybe some type of other mineral and some nutrients like sodium and so forth in your blood, which those things don't talk about what really going on with your wellness and your overall health. So you're not getting you're not getting the right assessment to help you to be well. So at 420 Wellness, the first week, the first day, we are going to assess you from a magnetic digital, the same kind of system that we use the cardiologists use to check your heart and so forth. We can check all the other organs, because it means nothing if your organs, try to get into 120 will be futile if your organs, like your liver, your kidneys, your pancreas, if they're not in good, healthy shapes to make it for that run. So that's the first thing we look at. A medical doctor doesn't do that. They don't do that, and that's what's been missing, and that's what and the reason why it's in medical school we learn certain things. We're not going to go beyond certain points because we want to maintain your sick care rather than getting you well. So at 420 Wellness, we're about getting you well from the get-go. I just wanted to add that.
No, that's important. And we have a storm going on here in the background, so I keep trying to tune out some of the storm. And, when we talk about why come to Jamaica, it's because Jamaica is a rich, we say nutrition-rich destination. We talk about the location. Doc, why don't you speak to that? The location, the climate, organically grown fruits and vegetables, and why this is the desired location for the type of outcomes that we're recommending.
Right. I've been on a very important research with these scientists out of the University of Guelph. If you know anything about University of Guelph, it's the premier agricultural college university in Canada. Up there with University of A&M, Texas. You got a bunch of A&M in the United States from every state. That was one of the things back in the days, is to have these A&M agriculture and mechanic colleges for just the average person in the state to be able to provide food and other things. Well, Guelph is the leading one in Canada. They've done some great research. Some of the companies that we see that are branded with agricultural distinction get their certification out of University of Guelph. Now, what they did, they researched all the soils in the United States, in Canada. Canada, as big as Canada is, almost twice the size of the United States. Just most of it's useless because it's so cold up there. It's about 11 different soils. When they got up to United States, look how big and vast the United States is. They found 12 different types of soils. So these, based on the soils, you know about your nutritional rich, dense foods, what you're gonna get. And most of those soils, of the 12 soils in the United States, are, just destroyed unless the rainforest is. But the ones that they've set up for growing and farming have been destroyed with gramazone, a lot of pesticide over the years through Monsanto and their experiment with GMO and all the other things that were going on. When they came to Jamaica and they tested this little island of about, I guess we're about 150 miles by 50 miles. So you can imagine the size of that. That's the size of Connecticut. Connecticut is one of our baby states, right? You have Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware. As one of the small states, and I think Rhode Island, they're all right there in that little part when they were fighting for power, So anyway, Connecticut is what we're the size of, and on this little island, they found over 130 130 different soils. 130 different soils. Now, once the guys came to us, the scientists, these big guys, like, professors that came down with our associate, once they told me that, I wasn't surprised, because I strongly feel that Jamaica always been where the Garden of Eden probably would have been located when you look at history and the great floods and all the ice age and stuff. This is, it's strategically located in the center of the Caribbean, and the sunlight, and I think there's only 2 places I said on earth that has the right concentration of sunlight for health and for growing the type of food, mineral-rich food, is Jamaica and a small part in Mexico. So they're on the same line of longitude, I think it is. I'm not much on the science of the geology and the globe, but it's on this line that Jamaica is completely encompassed by that great weather and combination of sunlight and the position of where it is in the globe and that little area in Mexico. I wish I don't really, I'm just concerned about Jamaica. And what Jamaica has to offer, nowhere else on earth has to offer, because of the soil, because of the Blue Mountain with its mineral-rich, the water that comes off of that. The word Jamaica actually means land of wood and water. So you basically, that's what the natives that were here, the Africans that were here before Columbus came, they were calling this island because it was so rich with these, with the right food, phytonutrients. I mean, there's stuff here that I don't find anywhere else in the world. There's berries here, there's plums, there's different things that is just perfect for healing and reversing any condition right here in Jamaica. So that's very important to understand why it is that you need to be here. It's, the right energy, the phyto energy that's coming from the sun is strategically located here, and the right mineral contents in the food. We have a fruit called jackfruit. Jackfruit is, to me, is like a combination of some of the great fruits that we love in the US and a concentration of just this flavor that is just exude in your mouth. And it has over 10 or 15 different minerals that your body needs each day concentrated in this thing. You could just have a batch of jackfruit and you're complete more in your meal more than any other combination of food that you can eat. So, and it's juicy and it's tasty, which is my favorite thing about that. So yes, it's not just.
I was craving some jackfruit today.
You did?
I was craving.
I get you some. I see some on the other side of the island, so we have to get it. You have to ship you some down there.
Yeah.
But those are the things that we, there's berries. There's berries out in the field that cleans up your artery. You come down here, you have you have a heart problem and other issues going on. There's things that we have that will clean you up, man. I mean, before you know it, I came down here and I tested all of that stuff, and I've seen a total reversal of my life, and that's what we're about. We're going to be restoring you with what is God-given. It's like going back to Eden, basically.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, what we wanted to do is walk through some of the activities and then have a wonderful conversation with Jeff and Ari. We're going to do a kind of a round robin interview style, but I'll thumb through quickly at least a few of the days, and then we're going to talk about 2 things: the Quantum Wellness Center and how that's related to 420 Wellness Global, as well as the Conscious Love World Tour. Conscious World Love Tour.
Or conscious love. Well, conscious love.
So the right now we're doing Wellness Weeks, May 23rd through 29th. And June 13th through 19th. So I'll circle back to those dates again. But really what happens, just so that you know, is you arrive on your day 1, depending upon the time of day, you're going to come into Kingston. and you stay one night in Kingston. That's where we conduct our 420 quantum assessments, and you have a welcome to Jamaica dinner. That's where we kind of spoil you, trick you before we go into the real heavy duty. So we kind of gave you a little love the first night, butter you up, nothing too scary. And then on day 2, you begin the transport from Kingston to Treasure Beach, which is about a 2-hour transportation. And so depending upon time of day that we take off, that'll determine if it is, we have a stop along the way. Sometimes we stop and do like a spring bath along the way, but it's all about the timing. So depending upon when the flights happen on the first day and completing the assessments, that informs what we get to do. So we can get to Treasure Beach before sundown. Mm-hmm. And when we get to Treasure Beach, we'll have opportunities like Ari will be able to talk about her ear candling and what she does. I'll let her tell us more about that. And then our second night, day 2, we'll have a fireside chat where Doc and I will talk about the organization and, more importantly, what your wellness week is going to include while you're in town. And then day 3, you're basically in Treasure Beach, the remaining part. So we have your detox and meal plans begin. That's when you start getting down to the nitty gritty. Day 2 and the rest of your trip is going to be about the detox plan. But we begin our yoga, meditation, and grounding session, and you have a cell regeneration, your first cell regeneration treatments. Then we have a pool party and a happy hour at either Pelican Bar or our fireside at Plantree. And Plantree is going to be here in Treasure Beach and relocating to another location. So that's why it is a tentative, because we're cutting it close to when they depart to their new location. Trying to squeeze that in. So many of you, I shared about Danielle. She's fabulous. We definitely will have a great opportunity in fireside chat with Danielle. And when she talks about how her love for food and ingredients, I'm telling you, you'll want some. And so then day 4, you continue with your detox and meal plans, yoga, meditation, and grounding, massage therapy on that day. And that's when we're going to do our fireside chat featuring Ari and Jeff on their Conscious Love World Tour. With Doc and I, we all decided that we would have a conversation around this book called Love by the late Leo Buscaglia. So we won't go into that today, but we want y'all to know we've been preparing. So that fireside chat is going to be just that. It's going to be fire for sure. But yes, since we are blessed to have Jeff and Ari here today, let's jump into our conversation. Let me tell you all a little bit about them. They are described as holistic relationship guides, health and wellness counselors, and they are the founders of the Quantum Wellness Center, which has several locations. The main location out of Malibu, Atlanta, Georgia, and they've kicked off this big tour, and they have additional destinations that they'll tell you about. Of course, they're with 420 Wellness Global, so every location that we open, they're in tandem with us as well as other locations. So Jeff and Ari, hey.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, no, we're doing phenomenal.
Wonderful. So, tell us a little bit more about what was the idea or the impetus behind the Quantum Wellness Center and, the two of you, and then kind of how all of us joined in.
Oh, yes. The Quantum Wellness Center grew organically over the years. Both Ari and I had been on our personal healing journeys that we, actually, we've got about, we've been on this combined well over 30 years. And we started off with our personal healing journeys. Ariane was diagnosed with MS about 20 years ago.
Yes.
And then myself, I had early stage prostate cancer. I also had a stress-induced stroke when I was 32, the day before my 32nd birthday. And then it morphed from our healing ourselves into helping family and friends. And with my with my oldest daughter, she had an aneurysm when she was 12 and just before her 13th birthday. And so with the natural healing protocols, I was able to help her, assist her in recovering from that. She was paralyzed on her whole left side of her body was paralyzed. And so through the holistic protocols, that's when I really started to get serious with it. She was able to, like if you saw her today, you would never know. USC grad with her master's, top of her class, just doing her thing now. But the doctors had told her, pretty much gave her a death, I wouldn't say death sentence, but pretty much wrote her off and said that she would never be able to utilize the left side of her body again. But, holistic ways and holistic measures have her ways of making it happen. And by the glory, grace of God, she's alive and healthy today. And so
that's amazing because she was so young, and mostly again, people, neglect to think that or pay attention to the fact that some of these ailments are happening younger and younger and earlier for our kids.
Absolutely.
And so, what are the factors that are contributing to these types of, an aneurysm? That's what killed my mother at 48.
Oh,
and
wow.
Which I thought was tragic, but you talk about a 12 or 13-year young person, wow. My heart can do nothing but ache to just even that thought, right?
Yes.
But the victory is about the protocol, right? Recognize that there is something that you can do and that's different than what somebody else is saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's always another way. I always tell my clients, as long as you still have breath in your body, there's an alternative way to correct whatever the challenge is that they're dealing with. And so, and that's carried us into it. From that point forward, that's when I really got deep into it. My daughter's 30, about to be 31 in a few weeks. But that was the platform or the catalyst that really pushed me to start taking things, to another level, because I never wanted to have that experience of being forced or feeling like I was forced to have to utilize measures that I wasn't in agreement with. And so I took that knowledge and really started to expand my platform and knowledge in the space. And, it's carried us into the early 20 teens when we decided to go ahead and form, the Quantum Wellness Center. And then Ariane, you can tell your story with this. How did you move into becoming the wellness fairy, the air kindling queen?
Oh my, yes. It was actually at the age of 18. So just as you were saying, Dr. Stephanie, that the diagnoses are coming younger and younger. I just finished running the LA Marathon a couple of months prior to. I got onto the campus at Howard University, and that year just so happened to be 9/11. And the stress of that, in tandem with the poor diet that I had up until that time, challenged me to the point of blindness. And I was blind, walking around campus, going to class still and everything. So going and seeking medical help and not hearing anything that was helpful. And so I was turned on to herbs, and then that was the choice. And I regained my sight, graduated in 4 years, and I'm here today. So I do know that the importance, I do know the importance of natural, holistic, nutraceutical-based healing.
Absolutely. But, you made a statement that was really powerful because you said, people were giving you advice, but it wasn't necessarily complete enough for your healing. And how did you know, like, what gave you the idea that there had to be something more than what you had? I think of myself, I was oriented to always look for different options because my mother raised me from this book, Back to Eden. Back in the day, we were eating, brown rice when it wasn't in vogue. My family said I was the foo-foo, high maintenance cousin, because I had all this strange stuff about what it was. But it was because my mom's intention was that she had the early impacts of high blood pressure from the stress as a young person. She didn't want me to have any of those ailments. And thankfully, her intention really set something going for me in my mind that agreed with her idea that no, I didn't want to have anything that she didn't want me to have. So I was willing to follow along and then adopt and continue to, take those ideals forward and then use that with raising my own son. But what was it for you that said, because I'm having conversations right now, the reason I ask you this is really twofold. I'm having conversations with people right now, and they'll ask me, well, my doctor said to do X, and I'm going to do X. And it's like, well, wouldn't you want to have more than one opinion?
Exactly. Right.
Yes.
Right. More information. And again, I was just coming off of running the Los Angeles Marathon a couple of months prior, and then everything just hit me. Once I became blind, and when I got to the doctor, he had already scheduled appointments for stents to be placed in my spine, and I had all the dye-induced tests, and so they could see what's going on in my eyes. And I asked the doctor, the last question I asked him, I said, okay, well, if I go on all this medication, when will I be off of it? Because prior to that, it's okay, take this, it'll be 2 weeks, you'll be better. He said, oh, it'll be for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I was shocked because, again, I know they're there to help, but that wasn't a good enough answer for me. So I left I left with respect, and I don't know exactly what it was, but then I end up in the office of Dr. Savy, and he's speaking to me, telling me about everything that I didn't know. I hadn't heard any of these terms before, mucus and everything. So I was like, okay, well, he seems like he has more of an answer. He seems like he's more helpful. His protocol seems like the way. And I went along with that. Within a couple of weeks, I had began regaining my sight and dislodging from the diet that I had been raised on.
Wow. But you began to already notice signs in as much as a couple of weeks. And that's critical, because a lot of people, when we tell them that we're going to begin to help you start to recast your wellness outcomes a week at a time, originally we were trying to think, what's the least amount of time that we can spend. Obviously we'll come for a month, but that's not feasible for everyone, right? But it's so powerful for you to say, in a couple of weeks, you can begin to realize that you're on a path for change. Your body begins to respond differently. And it's so drastic that you can't help but ignore it. I was telling people, like, when I first started having a fresh coconut each morning and then eating the jelly out, I'm like, my body felt like it was dancing on the inside instantly. Like it didn't take too many of that. I did it one day, I did it 2 days. I'm like, wow, what's going on here? I feel amazing. And then it starts to show inside out.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So in 2 weeks, you began to respond to restore your sight. I mean, come on. Nobody would believe that. Like, huh?
And I was the outcast in the cafeteria.
This is major stuff.
Exactly. I became the outcast in the cafeteria. So I was eating all of the waffles and the omelets and everything. Is like I had a completely different perspective on how to live my daily life. And that was at the age of 18.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you go forward and you've both now crossed paths, I heard your love story a little bit. Maybe you should share. Something about some kind of retreat somewhere and kind of some
Yeah, a little something like that.
somebody had some intention knowing that something was, I'm watching the door. So
Oh, you were listening.
yeah.
yeah, so you know, share a little bit about that story. How did you two end up connected and on this shared journey?
Well, in this lifetime, actually, we met a little bit over, it's going on, what, 14 months now? Actually,
That was
yeah,
March
it's
5th.
yeah, March 5th, 2021. And I was invited to a sacred sexuality retreat in Los Angeles. And initially I had
sacred sexuality retreat?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
yes,
I just want to
yes.
make sure I heard it all.
Yes, my background is in Tantra. I'm a Tantra practitioner. As a matter of fact, I do a modality called quantum Tantra massage, quantum Tantra body work. And so the retreat actually fell right in line with, because I'm always looking to expand my skill set and whatnot. And being in a retreat environment, you know, there's always something to be taken from, you know, what we would learn during that time. And so initially I had no intention on going though, was because even though I wanted to, but I had already made plans with my children that weekend. And so and then I got offers to come, like I kept getting invited from different people from different areas. And I'm like, wait, okay, there must be something to this retreat because everybody's acting like if I don't go, I'm really gonna miss out on something. And so on the day of, I went ahead and registered, and then I came through, and I was kind of like looking around, like, okay, I'm here, but why am I here? Because I'm like, I don't really feel any like magic in this moment. And then like I looked up and I started feeling real antsy, and I started feeling like almost like a kid, you know, ready for, you know, getting ready for Christmas and knowing the presents about to start, you know, come. And I kept looking over the door, looking over the door, looking over the door, and I said, "What? I'm like, why am I looking? You know, I don't know why I'm looking at the door. I just know that I feel something, and it's going to happen at the door." And then all of a sudden, I hear a knock at the door, and I'm like, "Oh!" And I jumped up before anybody else could answer the door. And when I opened the door, there she was. And like my mouth just like dropped, and I babbled something. I don't know what I said. Blah, 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 blah. Hi, you know.
And Ari, what were you thinking? Were you thinking this is the welcome committee, or what was your whole thought process?
First, I was very late, so I felt like I was interrupting what was going on. So I was walking in as quietly as possible. But to have Jeffrey come to the door, I said, "Oh, cute. He's really handsome." And then I walked in and I kept looking at him, and he kept looking at me, and yeah, it was just a synergy that was happening. We didn't speak much, and then we had the different exercises that we were a part of together, and it just was a building along the days, and here we are now, still building.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, literally, at the threshold, the threshold of the door, I fell in love with her right on the spot, and I knew that it wasn't the first time. It was just us reconnecting in this lifetime, and I didn't know exactly how everything was going, work from that moment forward, but whatever was going to happen, I was going to make it happen. And then our friendship just grew from there, and just our bond just got tighter and tighter, and we've just been just rock solid ever since, through some pretty traumatic situations. Because a lot of people that they're not aware that, Ariane had lost, that was paralyzed from the waist down. What was it, June 5th? Yeah, June 5th, last year. So 3 months after we had gotten together. And so, from that point forward, that's when we officially came together under one roof, and I came to take care of and look after her. And then, 2.5 months later, she was up walking again, and gotten the feeling back in her legs. And, but had she gone to the hospital, they would have tried to amputate her real quick.
Wow.
Yeah, they would have tried, so we did some upgrades as far as the diet was concerned. And then also with the ozone therapy, that really, that was a game changer as well. And it expedited the regeneration of her cells and whatnot, and improved her circulation. It took all the inflammation out of her lower extremities and brought her circulation back. And then boom, she was back up and at it. And so, but it's been an amazing ride. Yes. And and I have my life partner and my future wife. And she's been my everything from day one. And it was funny because I knew there's a feeling, because whatever happened in our past lifetime, I always would say, I'm not gonna mess it up this time. I ain't gonna mess it up this time.
You're gonna keep it right. Keep it moving.
Yeah, whatever I screwed up in our past life, no, it's not happening this time around. Yes.
That's such a beautiful story. And from the wellness and then into the Conscious Love World Tour. I mean, come on, guys. That's big. That's big. And it's so much needed. Relationships. I talk about the importance of building generational wealth, right?
Yes.
What's the benefit of extending your life to 120 years and beyond if it is that you don't have the resources that you need to take care of yourself? But more importantly, the benefit of your life being extended is so that you can contribute to the generations behind you, right?
Yes.
Clear ability and all of those things. But at the root of all of those things are relationships. Doc, you could probably chime in. You're always talking about the top five things that have been said to contribute to long life. And
yes, definitely.
Many of those have to do with relationship.
The top 4 is all about relationship. Yes, the top 4. Number 5, which is the closest to the in the top 10, is diet, and of course, I think number 6 is exercise, or it could be reversed a little bit there. But it's amazing to find out that how we deal with strangers and people we meet as we go along each day is the number one way to keep a healthy heart and a healthy, because it's amazing that I see people literally when you're walking down the road sometime, you can see the reaction of people in their eyes towards you when they just see a stranger. And a lot of that has to do with, right away, it depends on how you view the person that's coming up to you, is how your heart and your neurological system, which govern your body, respond to that person. Wow. And sometimes there's a jolt. You can literally see some people have a jolt when they look at certain people,
Yes.
So then I like a little, and imagine going through that every day and not realizing that you're either building yourself up or you're destroying yourself the way you react to strangers.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yes.
And then of course, number 2 is what you guys have. You guys have that love that will withstand all situation and all conditions. Because just from the first time I met you in California, and where you guys talk about just being there for each other with the various illness that was that manifests during the years that you guys met, and how you work together in healing each other. And that's the next most powerful method of going the distance to the 120 and beyond, is to really have that comradeship that is going to make it through the thick and thin, that one special person. And of course, number 3, family, how we deal with family. And I hear you have a very good connection to your children and your family. And That's very important. So yes, love, reading the book of love. I think you're the guy, you guys gave us that book to read, or was it, where we get that book from?
You know where that book came from. Don't you dare. Act like you don't know. That is my book.
Yeah, but I thought, who recommended for you to read for the book club? Or
I did. It's out of my library. I read the book when I was 18 the first time.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's an awesome book.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an advocate of love. I don't think we can do this without, you can't make it to the 120 Club any other way by practicing, genuine love. And it's not the superficial love that the world has come to know, that associate with emotions and sex and all the things like that. That's not really love. That has nothing to do with love, actually. I mean, love, is so many things, but we can focus on the one that keeps you healthy, which is, patience, kindness, gentleness, the basic, first, I think it's First Corinthians 13, 1-8, or you could focus on just between 4 and 8, where it just talks about 4, 5, 6 basic stuff. Love never fails. Love always hopes. Love always never keeps record of wrong. The things that we struggle with each day to do is what love is the opposite of most of the time. It's hard for us to let go of certain things from the past. But when you look at most successful formula, from Wattle to the other guys that have written books years before, they all come back to one thing. It's that you have to be able to forgive, let go. The negative things of the past needs to be out of your mind. Gentleness, kindness, there's no law against those expression, those just the way we deal with people. The golden rule, it's very basic and those things help your heart. If you go on the other side, the opposite side, you're just destroying your heart, and your heart is the first little light that went off with the neurological system when those two cells meet, the sperm and the egg. The first thing happen is a beat, boop, boop. And you want to keep that beat going for a long time, because that's the last thing that happened, when it stopped, the last 2 beat, boop, boop, you see. So the goal, how do you keep that heart beating for a long time? And that's through kindness, gentleness, kindness, patience. And all of those have to do with practicing real love,
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you guys, from I met you guys, you epitomize some of those elements, I would say.
Yeah, well, thank you, Doctor.
Which becomes important with not only maintaining personal relationships, but also when we talk about business relationships, building business opportunities and sustainable organizations. They're all built upon people. People make up organizations, and therefore those relationships matter as well. Having a little bit of challenge with my little light here. Right? So, yeah. And so, Kathleen, I see you there, and you're welcome to definitely chime in on this relationship and love conversation. You're shaking your head. No, you have something to say.
I have to contribute to that love story. I am taking notes. I am on this call learning, and what I hope to expand on my knowledge when I get to Jamaica. Hopefully we'll be there the week you're there. But yes, I did not know your story, and this has been fascinating.
Thank you so much.
Well, we have a bunch up our sleeves. See, people think that when we talk about your week of wellness, that, the people act like I'm sending them to a hospital or something away. I'm like, nah, I'm sending you some places you can turn up the most.
Yes.
And turn back, the damage that you've been doing. How about that? How about we turn up the most, all for fun and for good outcomes? So as you can see, rich conversations like this, where we're talking about topics of interest that matter. When we talk about that mind, body, and spirit, again, we want to address each of those elements, because we know collectively, when we think about from a holistic perspective, it all works together to make you well. Most people, the reason that they're sick is because they have dis-ease in their relationships. They're angry about something. They're angry about what happened today, on the freeway. They're angry about somebody stole their parking spot in the parking lot trying to go to the grocery store. They're angry about that person, their coworker on the job, and the list can go on and on and on. And so if you allow the experiences in your life to hijack you every step of the way, it's not that we're not going to have challenges. Yes, we absolutely are going to have challenges, but our ability to overcome those challenges are vested directly in how well we have, as it relates to both our attitude about the situation, how strong our immune system is in order to respond. But the root cause of all of that, in terms of getting past whatever you think you're facing, first begins with the attitude. What do you believe about the information that has been presented to you at this particular time? What do you believe about it? Do you believe it's true? Do you believe it's false? Do you believe you want to get more research? Do you believe there's a possible alternative? What do you believe? Because that right there determines everything. If you believe that you've been dealt a raw blow and that this is it, then guess what? That's what you're going to focus on, and that's what you're going to find. You're going to attract doom and gloom. But if you believe also that I have some information and I need to get some more information because I don't believe that this information is the it all be all, then that's also going to inform. And it's an attitude that says, I'm going to keep looking and I'm going to go for something else. Ari talks about restoring her sight and beginning that process and knowing that she was on the path for restoration in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time. She didn't say 2 years. She said 2 weeks. So that was something. That was something about a belief system that even said that, yeah, this is possible. You couldn't have had a mindset that said, oh, it's not even possible. I shouldn't even spend time trying. It's not even, feasible. It's a mindset that says, yeah, there's a possibility. So let me pursue the particular options that'll allow me to produce that outcome.
Yes. It takes patience. It takes strong mindset and knowing that the body will heal itself. Absolutely. What is it? It's in Romans 12:12, where it says, meet affliction with patience, because it does take time. And we live in a micro.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, we live in a microwave generation where everything is done in 30 minutes. Sitcom, everything is solved in 30 minutes, an hour. Even in a movie, that's 2 hours. No, that's not real life. So it may take 2 weeks. It may take 2 months, restoring my mobility, that has taken time. But as it says, meet it with patience.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Yeah, when I think about the timing and the commitment, but I also find myself having this conversation with prospects as well, saying that, listen, if you're facing a medical condition, you didn't just develop that condition yesterday. So how do you expect to have the solution manifest in 24 hours? The ailment didn't develop in 24 hours. It took longer. So there's a possibility that it's going to take some time to reverse the impacts of whatever it is that you're facing. So wouldn't you at least want to commit that time? so that you can get the outcome that you're seeking.
Mm-hmm.
So we say that wellness is a lifelong process. It's a lifestyle.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So you
It's a
want to
lifestyle.
build on that lifestyle. Absolutely. Absolutely. You make a decision. You know, we say, when is it that you begin to start your wellness journey? And I say it's at the moment that you make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely.
And then every day you continue to make that decision. And it's the same thing with anything else that we commit to. Every day we get up and we recommit to whatever those things are, those intentions that we set, those commitments that we've made. It's a daily journey, so it's no different. You know, the wellness journey is no different than any other journey. You just make a set of choices and you start feeling so amazing that you want to keep making the choices that allow you to feel amazing.
Yes.
To me, I think that that's a simple, you know, addiction, because you start feeling good and you get addicted to feeling good.
Yes. 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 You have to create that habit of wellness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To replace the bad habits of disease. Exactly.
Right. So, Jeff, you want to drip on them a little bit about some of the stuff we have coming up? We're talking about the 20 days of 420 and 2023.
Ooh-wee.
Music festivals.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Tours.
Oh yeah. No, we have some amazing events coming up. We have our two wellness weeks, which was I believe it's the February 12th through the around February 12th, and then also the third week in September around the 17th. And those will be couples oriented events. And the focus of our couples wellness weeks are for couples intimacy and couples wellness and healing. And so during that time, we'll take a deep dive into creating, actually erasing dealing with emotional traumas that keep couples separated. Because a lot of times, what starts to break down the connection, the love connection that a couple like went into the relationship with, is that they've got emotional trauma that they haven't dealt with. And then it starts to rear its ugly head throughout the relationship, and neither one talks about it with the other. And so what happens is over time is it creates this relationship divide between them. It's like an invisible wall. It's like the elephant in the room that shows itself up. You know, it shows itself not only when it breaks up their, sets them apart from one another, but then it also starts to show and manifest itself physically. With you're talking about like erectile dysfunction and lack of sexual desire on the woman's part. Shows up as fibroid tumors in the uterus. It shows up in depression, mood swings, all types of emotional, or actually all types of physical thyroid issues, all types of physical issues, manifest themselves through the emotional blockages that shows up in a person, the person hasn't dealt with. And so that's the first thing that we really touch on is, we go through exercises and showing couples how to release that trauma. And from that point forward, now they have an open channel. Now we can move into the health and wellness protocols. And now we can move into the tantric practices that they can utilize and implement into their daily lives to really bring in that loving, that passion, that burning desire that couples, thirst for. Because, like you walk around, you see a lot of these relationships, they're dry. Heck, you think they, like there's like literally not strangers in the night, they just strangers in the day. Strangers everywhere they walk. And you're like, no, like, are y'all really married? Are y'all together? Or y'all just,
No connection. No
connection. Yeah. And so, and then when you look at, I often utilize everything that we do is because we've done it. We've experienced it on one level or another, and we know it works. And because it's worked for us, we then impart and share that information with others in hopes that that they can gain some some sort of enhance their lives the way it's enhanced ours. Because like when you look at like our relationship, people think, oh yeah, they've been married for years. Like, no, we only been together, about 14 months now. Like, oh no, well, and we made the decision when we first got together that we were actually going to wait until marriage prior to having intercourse. But people would think that, the way, especially the way we've imprinted on one another energetically, but that comes from our tantra practices. And so even though, I think we lost her. Hello, Kathleen, can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you. I don't know.
It says recording stop, but keep
She's
going.
back. She's back.
Okay. Yeah.
We should still be on Zoom.
Yeah, and so even though we're not actively having sexual intercourse, we're not. That doesn't say that we're not sexual, meaning that energetically we're sexual. Energetically, we're in our connection because being orgasmic doesn't necessarily correspond with having to be, in an intercourse or interactively in a physical sexual manner. And so that comes from the way we talk to each other, the way we look at each other, the way that we hold each other, the way that we love on each other, when we're together and when we're apart. The way that every aspect of our lives is intertwined. And so we're always connected. So she can be on the other side of the planet, and I can, some higher level tantric exercises and whatnot. We can connect, and so you'll be just like I'm right there next to her. And so there's many ways to really connect and develop intimacy within a relationship. And so
let me touch on that a little bit, what you're saying about even on the other side of the world, because that's very important for people to understand. It's not even about the physical so much as it is a balance between mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely.
It's that balance. You cannot say you're complete in anything, especially a relationship, until both of you are balanced physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Absolutely.
And none is greater than the other. So you can't neglect one and do the other, and you can't do one and neglect. All of them have to be balanced, and that's with everything in life. So yeah, I want to touch on that because you're right about that. It's not about, you should have a mental capacity in your relationship that no matter where in the world you are, you're connected.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. There's no separation between space and time.
Right.
Space and time is only an illusion.
But a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of couples think if they're not in the physical presence of each other, there's loneliness and all this stuff. And I have to tell them that's in your mind. There's no such thing as loneliness if you're mentally connected to your partner.
Yes, exactly.
You can't get lonely no matter where you are.
Yeah, all it takes is to focus and
the wrong focus, right?
and energetic connection, and boom, there you are. Like we're right there next to each other. Yeah, and so we've been. And like I said, I felt her energy even prior to her walking up to the door at the retreat last year, and so I recognized that energy. As we've healed over the years from our past traumas and our past relationships and our past challenges, we were preparing for who and what we are today to one another. And so, because it's funny, because when we really started going back and looking at the circles that we've been in, we've always been in the same circles at some point or another. And so, I mean, she literally grew up 3 miles away from my house.
Wow.
She literally, we frequented the same restaurants. As a matter of fact, her cousin owns one of my favorite family restaurants that we went to. And so we were always connected, but the thing is, we hadn't healed enough to be able to really, connect on the level that we needed to. And then once we reached a certain level of shadow work and really coming together, or actually coming to love ourselves, and once we began to love ourselves enough, then that qualified us to be able to love each other on the level that we do now. And and like nothing can break us apart. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And we've been tested. And once we realized, is that really what do you call that, the the signal that, it's time to shut it down, or do we have a discussion and, moving forward. And so, everything is about respect. It's about communication is key. And, and that's what we share with the couples, during our retreats, is showing them how to have that open line of communication, showing them how to really relate on different levels. The thing is, you're always not going to be, necessarily, the romanticism that plays out, but that friendship and that bond lasts forever. And so we started off, we still are, friends, the best of friends, and just loving on each other and really growing in the relationship. And so, that's been, tremendous for us. We're really looking forward to that 20 days of 420. That's going to be off the chain. That I'm so excited for that, because we're looking at all the healing that's involved in it, and then, the 420 theme and whatnot, and as well as the 420 Jamaica Love Festival that will be on the 22nd of April. That's going to be incredible. We're going to have, artists out, and just it's going to be Woodstock with the Jamaican twist.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Exactly. The 420
yeah.
vibe.
Yeah, the whole.
It's gonna be a love fest.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're not gonna do. We're not. Those guys didn't know about microdosing at the time, so they kind of overdid it with the mushrooms. But I think we're gonna have it under control this time.
Yes, absolutely. So
Making sure
excited, so excited for that. Yeah, and to be able
to you connected back. You got the recording back on?
Yes,
Okay.
it looked like. So we probably had a couple little interruptions. That's what happens, when it's storming in Jamaica. You may have cell interruptions, internet interruptions, but like we say, we just keep on pushing forward anyway.
No,
absolutely. Yes, we kept it going.
Yeah, no, fabulous. Well, in addition, we were talking about relationship, the Love Tour. I'm going to show a few more of the dates because I stopped midstream. This is just part of your date. You have your day 5 that I mentioned. Day 5 is exciting. We have day 6 should be exciting. Day 6 is the day that we have a party, soiree, a barbecue. So we have something planned each day. Includes a lot of fun and connecting with the community, where we're hosting the Wellness Resort here in Treasure Beach. So you definitely want to come and experience that.
Absolutely.
And so that you could take part in these conversations. But before I forget, I really want to go back, Jeff, because you touched on one topic in the relationship part, and it's something that my mom had, well, she didn't necessarily expose me to directly, but I have many of the books. I think I have probably most of the books from her library.
Nice.
And as I was looking through her books, the book on holistic health was one of the books that was in the library, but she has a book on Tantra massage. And I haven't had an opportunity to peel that one back yet. And you touched on it a little bit. So just out of curiosity, can you kind of tell me a little bit about what that Tantra massage process is all about? I know it's a secret for your couples retreats, but, kind of pique our interest, because I think we all want to go on a couples retreat too.
Yeah, well, quantum Tantra massage is actually a modality that I coined, my specific way of going about it, because my background is, and that's what that is a mixture of quantum touch. Then also, there's multiple massage modalities, actually multiple Tantra modalities that's associated with it as well. Grand Trine Tantra, I-Squared Tantra as well. Then there's a few indigenous practices that are involved in that go back to the ancient Egyptian cultures, as well as the Native American cultures as well. And so with that, It's an energetic approach to unlocking the blockages in a person's from the person's lower regions, bringing it up to, and and basically raising the energy from the lower regions up to the higher regions. And with that, what happens in that process is it allows a person to unleash those trauma blockages. What did they say? Over 50% of diseases that exist today have an emotional component that caused them.
Wow.
And and that comes from energy blockages in the various chakra regions. And so Tantra is phenomenal at because a lot of times people think, when they think of Tantra, they think of sex itself, and sex is the byproduct, or being sexually adept is a byproduct of Tantra. It's only like a small percentage. What Tantra is basically the moving of energy from your lower regions to your higher regions. And so your lower chakras up into your third eye and through your crown, and it connects you to the Most High. And so through the massage process, I also do Reiki as well. And so the difference between the two is Reiki brings the channels of energy from the outside within, where Tantra is Tantra creates energy from your sacral regions, and then it channels it upward. And what that does is it induces healing in an individual, in addition to creates quite a strong orgasmic, it can create quite a strong orgasmic experience as well. A lot of people don't realize, they think, well, orgasms, they just feel good, but no, that's actually one of the closest connections you can have to the Most High, because that orgasmic energy can, once it's developed, the person is open enough through energetic orgasmic experience, they can then channel that energy, and it starts to create what they call the God molecule, which is a DMT. And now you can transcend this space and time into different dimensions and tap into the Akashic records and manifest any and everything that you can imagine. And so, like when people say, "Oh, well, you're not having intercourse," with R&I said, "Well, no, we're not having intercourse, but trust, there's more orgasms that than happen in our connection in our 14 months than our lifetimes combined." And so, even without touching each other in a sexual manner. And so, and that leads to, the connection, the connectedness that we have with one another, because that bond, that energetic bond, it can't be broken. And so when we look at quantum tantra massage, the quantum part of it, that's an energetic healing modality that, you basically can channel the energy and heal and help a person induce healing in any part of their body. And so given my original soiree into energy work started off with massage. And so, and then I grew into the tantric arts because I saw how powerful it could be, because, and also on like real deep levels, the quantum tantra massage, when people have entities that can attack, people can have entities that attach to them, even spirits and things of that nature, multi-generational curses that can attach to them, from ancestral curses. Because I've had multiple clients that had spirits that attached to them from slavery times. Wow. That would show up in a session, and literally or evil spirits that were attached to them that they were carrying around that were causing them to be sick. And so through the tantra work, I was able to pull those spirits out of them and then channel them and vanquish them into a different area. So the work gets deep, because people think like, oh, okay, well, is this massage or is this some kind of sexual thing? No, it's sexual energy, yes. Orgasmic energy, yes. And we utilize the power of sexual energy and the orgasmic energy to induce healing in the body on the highest level. And so, that's the tantra massage in a nutshell.
Well, I want to touch on something real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did years ago when I was in college, I was exposed to the Taoist, you know about Taoist, if you know
Yes.
about Tantra, sexual secret of Tao. And I used to read similar stuff, and a lot of it has to do with what you're just talking about bringing it from the lower chakra all the way up to the higher level, connecting with the yin yang inside of you, and and I practiced it for a while I was in college. I mean, I kind of stayed celibate and practiced it, and it was kind of like, you know, as you said, it's the most powerful thing and healing, healthy kind of thing you can do. So we'll definitely talk about, you know, connecting with the Tao and the yin yang in that also, and when you if once I get to your sessions. But yes, I understand quite well and how powerful it is. And one question though, were you practicing that during, you know, the time when you found out your prostate issue?
No. The Tantra, I came into the tantric world back in 2014. Prostate issue happened back in, I was 33.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a long time ago.
All right, no problem. Because I was thinking if you were practicing that, I would think that, you know, the prostate issue would have been non and void. But
It wouldn't happen.
Non and void.
Yeah. That
we can
was a
help
combination of me backsliding on my diet.
Right. With our connection, as far as our, you know, we definitely can help a lot of male with their prostate problem with these kind of therapies.
Yes.
And a massage is a type of therapy, which we can say therapies. We're just basically therapists helping people to extend their lives to 120.
Yes.
So what I wanted to mention also is that the emotional, every disease, you said maybe 60%, but literally every disease have an emotional connection. You know, it starts somewhere emotionally and mentally before it manifests itself physically.
Yes.
And I've studied that through my alternative degree, and you know, just about. It's funny because I remember one session I was having with a patient where, you know, they're talking to this sister, and I think her sister and her mother was there as far as her asthma issue. And I remember studying somewhere where asthma, a lot of children used to use it for attention when they're not getting enough attention.
Yes,
So they cry out the asthma thing, you know. And I was there talking to her, and I'm like sharing that with her. And the mother and the other sister kind of looked up and said, "Oh, you know, it hits them that they remember her asthma started from a young age when she was looking for attention." You know?
Exactly.
And it just mentally manifests where it gets worse because of her mindset.
Becomes chronic. Yep.
Exactly. And it, you know, it could have gone a long time ago, but she saw that it was, you know, her family would gravitate to her whenever she cried for the breathing and all this stuff, and I had to rush to the hospital. And that was all in her mind. She created that on herself.
Yes.
After that session, I realized, yes, when we're dealing with patients, we have to go back to where it started. And that's what I do with most of my patients. I ask some questions, you know, to see where the emotional connection came in, where it started, you know. So yes, you're right on that one. So we have to help patients in that area like that.
Yeah.
And Doc, we had talked about helping families
through constellation. Exactly. The constellation part where you talk about the spirit there, you're right. There's a lot of people who needs to be healed in family constellation type of setting because they just never get a chance to let go of the emotional bondage that a grandparent might have caused, an aunt might have caused, one of the, you know, the gatherings 20, 30 years ago, they kept it and it kept them ill. So I've read stories where people were, you know, so adamant about not, I guess, humbling themselves before their own parents that they end up having these chronic backaches. And when you're humble, you know, you should be supposed to be able to prostrate yourself, even mentally. Not, you don't have to go down on your knees every time you see your parents, but just because they just wanted to be rigid and stiff and holding themselves, like I'm not going to give in to what my parents want me to do and stuff.
Yeah.
They end up having the chronicest back problem. And trust me, once they get in this constellation and get to, their parents eventually passed on. But once they were in this constellation and you put somebody there to represent the parents, the physical presence of the parents, and they get to bow and apologize and all this stuff, that person rises back up without the backache, without the back problem.
Exactly.
Those spiritual connections are definitely important. And you touch on with going back to slavery, so these spiritual constellation sessions will be very important. We could talk about, combining that also.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Also was one of the books that will be part of our book club, because I mentioned way back when that one of the early books that I want to present for the book club is What Mama Couldn't Tell Us About Love. It's Healing the Emotional Legacy of Slavery, Celebrating Our Light. And this book was written by Dr. Brenda Wade and Brenda Lane Richardson, two women out of San Francisco. I read the book, back, again, 10, 15 years ago, whenever the book was first published was when I read the book. But because it goes back to, again, healing that emotional legacy from slavery, because that's what happens is we keep rehashing and reliving things that have not been resolved. And so again, if you want to unpack and get to your ultimate state of wellness, a lot of times you got to understand what you don't know. We have blind spots that you don't even know what you don't know. And so until you start understanding those things, you can't get to a full state of healing. And once you understand those things, that you can, absolutely. And so that's just an example of some of the things. I mean, we have so much packed in and planned through our various affiliations and interests that this wellness journey should be an option that you're able to pick, because it's a lifestyle that you begin to want to be a part of. While you build and restore your health, and you set yourself on course to live your best life to 120 years and beyond. So I have to tell you all, I enjoyed having this conversation today. I think a lot of people will benefit from this conversation. And I think we gave them a little teaser, a little sample of what they can expect during a wellness week. And I think I'll just kind of click through the last couple of slides so they know where to go if they'd like to get more information, if they want to sign up for one of these wellness weeks that happen. The total package for this 7-day, 6-night wellness week is $24.95 for double occupancy. And what that includes is basically everything from you landing in Jamaica. We have you. So your flight is separate. We don't know where you're coming from in the world, but once you land, which we direct you to land in Kingston, if you land in Montego Bay, we'll have to do another transfer, but we can get you from Montego Bay as well. But the preference is if you come into Kingston for this week, and then you're returned back to Kingston. So your hotel accommodations, all of your meals, all of the treatment protocols that have been scheduled in this week are all part of that package. And then if you are interested, you want to reach out on the next slide, there'll be information. And then you would initially secure your space by paying your $500 deposit. And there are payment plans available. So know that option exists, as well as, other forms of payment to make it possible for your week. But I was doing a calculation for someone. We were talking about, so many people immediately go, well, I can't afford that. I can't spend that money. It's not part of my health plan. I only pay $30 on a copay. And it's like, well, no, I'm sure you pay more than that. You pay a monthly medical amount and the copay. But forget about your medical. I don't even need to compete with your medical. Let me ask you this. How many people go to Starbucks every day? Well, if you go to Starbucks every day and you spend $10 in a day, 365 days in a year, you have more than paid for your wellness week. So if you can spend money to kill yourself, you should definitely be able to find a way to spend money to heal yourself.
Yeah,
Just
love it.
Just saying. Just saying. But it's about you, right? So for more information, you can go to our website, which is www.420wellnessjamaica.com, or you can email us at bookings@420wellnessjamaica.com. And through either a point of contact, we'll be happy to provide you with additional information so that we can get you on your wellness journey. Trust, we have some exciting stuff. You will not be bored. And if I had nothing else to say, several people that have come, by the time they've landed and probably within their first 24 to 48 hours in Jamaica, they're already booking their return. And I have evidence because Miss Kathy, who didn't chime in today, is working on her third return in a year. So clearly there is something that she keeps coming back for. She keeps coming to get some more. So I'll just say that we got the goods over here. Doc et al. We got the goods. So we can't wait to see you and help you along your wellness journey. So for those of you who tuned in, again, thank you so much. If you have additional questions and information, feel free to reach out. Doc, you have anything to add?
And yes, we're looking forward to having you and touching on the finance. It's not so much about, looking at it as putting, your health is your wealth. So what are you want to invest in being wealthy and being around for a long time? Because a lot of people misconstrue wealth as something that has to do with having so much piled up in the bank and properties everywhere. And, that is part of being a wealthy person. But the real wealth is, your health, because you'll be able to live for a good long time to enjoy those benefits of property and capital. And if you don't have that, what is the point of gathering property and capital? So some of that money you're using to gather property and capital, use it towards your temple, which is what the Almighty gives you, that is going to be around for a long time to enjoy all the things that you are putting aside to full joy.
Absolutely. And Ari and Jeff, any closing thoughts? Anything you'd like to share?
Yes, well, first, thank you so much for having us on today. It has been a pleasure to see everyone again since we were all in Vegas. And right? We had a good time.
We already been partying, right?
Exactly, right? So, looking forward to having that expanded and meeting other people and sharing our journey and receiving and witnessing the transformation of others. We definitely look forward to that. So, look forward to the healing to come. Stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Yes. So excited. Thank you so much. And blessings to you all. And we're looking forward to a long and fruitful relationship. And let's heal the world.
Hey, that's
one patient at a time. One patient at a time.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. And anyone, again, 420wellnessjamaica.com. See you soon. All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Take care.